today's cake tutorial is tips and tricks. We're gonna learn how to cut, fill, and ice a cake. Be sure to like the video and subscribe, and then follow us on Instagram and Facebook as well. Today, we will also have all of our tools linked in the description. We are not sponsored by any of these companies, but we may receive a small commission if you do click on the link and choose to purchase something. Okay, so today, let's get started. You don't need too much. You need a serrated knife here and 2 layers of cake. If you decide to have 1 layer, that's fine. So first, we're gonna cut off the round part here and the tip. And you can kind of go all the way around as well if you'd like. A lot of times I just kind of go all the way through. Okay. I kind of take a step back, make sure I'm pretty level. Okay. And then I'm going to cut the top off to my other cake here. And if you don't want to waste the cake tops, you can either eat them, make them into cake pops, make them into cake truffles. There's a couple different things that you guys can do with that. Okay, so we have our cake cut here. And then we are going to put a rim around the cake. Not fully on the outside, but not too far on the inside either. Now here's where you can get fun and creative as well. You can put a jelly or a jam or like an Oreo mousse or peanut butter mousse in there. Today we're just going to do our regular buttercream. So I'm going to continue to fill it up here. And I'm just going to smooth it out to make it level, because if this isn't level, then even if you cut your cake level, it's not going to be level. So no, I like to go around here too. That's not necessary, but it's a little thing that I've developed. Okay. Now we're going to take our cake and flip it upside down and put it right on here. And then again, here we're going to step back and just spin your cake or look all the way around it. Definitely not level here. So no problem. Maybe my icing isn't level, but I honestly see where I didn't catch this part here. So I'm just going to trim a little bit more off of my cake, and hopefully that will help me. Okay. That looks a lot better. I'm just going to give it a little push down here. Okay, so we've got our cake cut and filled. Next step is crumbing. Sometimes you can skip this step. A lot of times I do, especially with a vanilla cake. It's a lot easier. The chocolate cake, you get a lot more crumbs in, and they're more visible. But to show you how to do it, I am going to go ahead and crumb my cake. And then after we crumb it, we are going to stick it in the fridge or the freezer for a few minutes. Okay, so here's my buttercream. You can use the bag for this too, but I just prefer, since it's something a little imperfect, to just slap the buttercream on there, and I'm pushing it and spreading it all the way through the top. And you don't need as much as I put on there, so I'm going to kind of make it smooth and just do a very thin layer. I like to use the word translucent. You kind of want to see the cake through it. This is also considered a naked cake. You might do the crumb and be done. Throw some fresh flowers on there, or even some buttercream flowers. And that is a really trending thing right now as well. Kind of has been for the last couple years. And it's definitely something you can all do at home. Okay. So one thing you want to make sure too is if you do have like a jelly or jam filling, when you create that moat or that dam around, or like I call it a ring, before you put your filling in there, once you put your filling in, put your cake on top, you might want to stick it in the fridge or the freezer before you start your crumb. With that being said, because when you start to ice it, your cake might shift because your filling is so soft. Okay, so I used my Ateco spatula, which is my favorite. And then now I'm using my cobalt scraper, but and just using this and just scraping it nice and smooth here. And again, I have said in my other videos, but this is going to be my main icing video. You don't want to do like flush up against your cake, and you don't want to be like directly on your cake like that. So just slightly at an angle here, and continuously spinning your cake turntable. And that looks really nice for a crumb coat or a naked cake. So now we're going to pull in the top, and I never go all the way across. I usually go just slightly in or even to the middle, but never all the way across, because you'll just have like a lip on the other side. And I'm not putting hardly any pressure here. And that is your crumb coat. I like to go ahead and clean my board. Another reason for this is because when you put it in the freezer, all those little pieces, it might seem like nothing, but those little pieces will get cold, and then it's going to create a groove, and then your spatula might catch on it the next time you go to put the top coat of your icing on. Okay, that is your crumb coat. And we'll put it in the freezer or the fridge, wherever you have space, just for a couple minutes, and I'll meet you right back here. Okay, so our crumbed cake just came from the freezer. It was only in there a few minutes. You can tell that your crumb coat is ready when you can put your finger here and it not have your imprint on there. So that's a good way to tell. You don't want, if it's still soft and messing up, then you need a few more minutes. Okay, so today I'm going to ice with a bag because I feel like that's the easiest way to teach people. So I've got my Ateco bag here, and I've got it already filled with my buttercream. I'm going to go ahead and massage it a little bit just to kind of get all the air bubbles out and make it a little smoother. And you can also, if you already know a little bit about the cakes or about icing cakes and have a little experience, you're welcome to ice a cake just like how we did the crumb coat, where you just throw the icing on there. That's usually how I do it unless I'm doing some type of striped cake. But this is a nice, easy way to learn and set yourself up for success. Okay, so again, I like to, when my bag is really full like this, I like to kind of crease it off there, make sure it's not going to fall out the other end. And it gives you a little bit more pressure here, so you don't have to squeeze as hard. I'm going to start at the bottom, and I'm going to just start turning my cake as I'm putting pressure on the bag, creating a pipeline all the way around. I'm going to go again right on top of it, or right above it, I should say. And I start and stop at the same area. You don't have to, but it's just, I guess it's a habit that I've formed that doesn't seem to be a bad one. Okay, and I'm just going to do this all the way to the top. Hopefully, I have enough icing in my bag. Okay, so now that I'm at the top, now I'm going to go in the inside and do the same thing. Okay. All right, now I'm taking my Ateco straight spatula, and I am just going to start smoothing this, getting it a little bit more level, and making sure all the icing is pushed out to the side a little bit, coming off over the edges. That way when you do the sides, it's going to meet your top. Okay, so that looks pretty good. You don't have to go too crazy because you are going to scrape in the top, and you can worry about smoothing it out then. But I do kind of look down and make sure that I'm pretty level. I do have some spots here that when I did look down, I see that I could have a little bit heavier icing. It might be all right, but I'm going to add just a little bit more so I don't have to go back over it later, hopefully. Okay. So you can kind of fill in a little holes, but you don't have to go too crazy there because when you start icing it, you're going to see a couple other low spots that you want to add icing to then. So I take my straight spatula and just start going around the cake. And same thing for the crumb. you're not like this, and then you're not completely flush against the cake. You're kind of slightly angled, if you can kind of see, angled like that a little bit. Okay, and I'm going to go around 1 or 2 more times with this. Okay, now I'm going to move on to this, but I do see that I'm already kind of going up like this a little, so I'm going to add just a little bit more. Okay, so now I'm taking my my scraper and doing what we did when we did the crumb. And I've got a good, because I piped my icing on, I've got a good amount on there. So I can go, I don't have to worry about filling in little spots like that yet because I do have a good amount on there that I can scrape a couple times before I start to see the bare cake. All right. That looks pretty good. Now I'm going to go one more time because this isn't fully meeting the top. Like, see how this is coming up over it? This still has, the sides are a little lower, so I want to be a little bit higher. Okay, I think that should be okay. It's still like that a little bit. Let's see when we scrape it. So now we're doing the same thing that we did for the crumb. We are just lightly touching it and swooping it in. You don't want to put a lot of pressure because when you do put a lot of pressure here to go to pull back in, you might put too much pressure and then it's going to create a lip on the outside and then you're going to have to go around your cake again to get rid of that. So that way it pushes it back up. So we want to try to not do that. And then, so I'm just pulling in only barely even halfway into the middle first. And I scrape it after each time because if you don't, then you have like a little bit of icing on here. When you go to put this on here, you're going to create a line of icing that stays where you touched your spatula. Okay, so now that I kind of pulled it in all the way around, now I'm going to go in and go a little bit more into halfway to kind of get rid of all my lines. All right. And depending on what's going on the top, you might not have to go super crazy on smoothing it, but I usually like to just do it in case I decide to change my design or need a really smooth top. Okay, now you have your cake. I'm going to go one more time here. It looked a little higher on that side. Okay. All right, so here's your iced cake. Now you need to check out one of the other videos and see how you want to decorate your cake. Maybe you already have an idea and you had to come back to watch this in the first place. So make sure to like and subscribe our video. All of the products are linked in the description. And make sure if you have any questions or comments, leave them below and we'll get back with you. Thanks for watching.